Hello, my name is Nate, and welcome back to Inside the Blue Zone. Today we are joined by four of our varsity wrestlers.
Daniel Ruiz, 113.
Hi, my name is Alex, the 115.
Gabriel Pacheco, the 138.
Daniel Guerra, the 132.
First off, thank you guys for joining us on the podcast. And how'd you guys get into your guys' sport? Like, when did you guys start? Like, any background?
When I first got into the sport, it was one day my cousin, Boyo, he was out front of the school. And I had asked him where he was going. And he was like, I'm going to practice. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And he was like, oh, you want to come? I was like, oh, nah, I don't even got no wrestling. I got nothing for it. He was like, no, well, I got some wrestling shoes right here, so you got no excuse. Are you going to come or not? So ever since that day, I was forced to go, and then I fell in love with it.
Me, at first, I didn't like wrestling. Like, when I was in 8th grade, my brother's trying to put me on, but I didn't like the fact, wrestling. But one day, my grandpa, texted the coach, because the coach and my grandpa were friends. And my grandpa put me on. Then it was, the first day of practice. As soon as I stepped on the mat, I started liking it. And then hitting firemen on everyone. Yeah. And then since there, I love the sport, and then never gonna quit.
I feel like I kind of started when I was very little. What really got me into it was my brother. Watching my brother wrestle, it threw me straight into everything, because we started with jiu-jitsu, and then from there they had actually told us that there's more of a future in wrestling. So we all kind of started there. But yeah, it was mostly my brother that got me into it, and then ever since then I've just been nonstop wrestling for the rest of my life.
I started when I was 5. Been training since there. The first time I started was because they were fighting my sister and I didn't know how to do anything. So now I had to do wrestling and boxing to try to defend my sister and my little siblings.
That's valid.
That's a W right there.
All right, then. So, the next question is, obviously, we're all from the Valley. And, we know Centro has, a strong pride and tradition. Is there anything, that wrestling that has that, that the pride and tradition there that, not most people know about that you guys want to talk about?
But also the pride within yourselves, too. You got to have a lot of pride for yourself to go out there, and you're really representing the school, but you're representing mostly on your own in these tournaments. And it's just there's a lot of stress we go through. We get a lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves we deal with, especially with cutting weight and even when we don't make weight, it sucks. But yeah, I feel like we have a lot of pride as wrestlers, individuals as well, and our team. We really come together during those duels. When one of us falls, we all fall. We all go down together.
Leading on to that, I don't think most people know how mentally and challenging wrestling is for you guys. So you guys want to talk about that, how you guys managed to do that, where you guys had to make sure you guys are at a certain weight, and you guys had to deal with all that stress.
One reason wrestling is really hard is cutting weight. You gotta maintain your diet. For example, me had to wear trash bags almost every day because I didn't take care of my weight. And then it might be confusing being him or the 115s, me and Daniel. It's if I miss weight, he's gonna go in. And then so it's that. So
It also can be injury-wise, because then there could be a certain moment where you're high up, everything's good, and then there's a point in wrestling where it's not like any other sport, because you could be happy, smiling, and boom, after one match, you feel like it's the end of the world because you lost, or because you got cut out of a tournament, or because of an injury. But in this sport, it's tough because it's the only sport where you are determined to come back from it and just be better.
I feel the real mentally straining part of this whole thing is not only do you need to keep your weight in check, but you need to make sure you're having good practices. And I feel like a lot of people go through practices very, very just kind of going through the motions because they're just so depleted and everything. But there's a whole lot of stress in competition too, because we run into like these big old brackets. Like this weekend, I had like an 85-man bracket, and once you get thrown into the constellations, which is like once you lost once, that's where you end up, and it's just a uphill battle from there, and your body just gets so exhausted and sore, and you start breaking down mentally. Like after a certain point, you start breaking down mentally, but you still have to push through all these adversities. But I feel like it's very big mentally. Like you need to know how to wrestle, but it's not, wrestling isn't everything about it. You need to have the mental strength and fortitude to go through these tough times.
The most mental part about wrestling is everything. The practices, the constant dieting, trying to lose weight, the constant fear of being injured, the constant fear of losing a tournament right off the bat. Most people go 0-2. Most people win one match, have all the confidence they have in the world. The next match, they get tagged or pinned.
Like, I got a question. Like, I don't think people know how hard it is for wrestling. Like, because if you add like no offense, if you add like a soccer kid into wrestling, he's probably gonna quit like the next 3 weeks or so. Cause as soon as they start cutting weight and doing the losing weight, everything, it's gonna put an effect on them. Because it's like really hard. And that's all.
Yeah, I think that's what most people don't realize about like they see wrestling. It's like, oh, you guys just like, wrestle each other, but they don't see the mental part you guys go through every day. From you guys like right after school, you guys are right there from practice, and then the conditioning is nonstop, and then obviously like you said, like the hardest part is the diet. Even I say like I don't know how you guys can do it because like I like to eat, and like I don't think I would be able to do that. Where like if I had to stay at this weight, like that sucks,
Yeah, that's the funniest part because we all like to eat. We all pig out after weigh-ins and we eat a bunch, and that's why cutting weight is so hard because we usually float like 5 pounds after weigh-ins, like after the tournament. Everyone's over, so we always have to cut a lot of weight for that, and it's just funny because like Alex is like every week you'll see him in a bag, without exception, because after weigh-ins he's just eating everything like just nonstop. But it's hard to stay disciplined, and I could see why a lot of people would break in that situation. But I feel like what really keeps me from breaking is just the passion I have for the sport. I've been here for a long time, and a best way to describe the wrestling season in general, like whether you're winning or losing, like it's very depressing in a way, kind of like because there's you win, you lose, and sometimes you don't win the way you want to win. Sometimes you lose the way you didn't want to lose. Like you could get instantly pinned or ticked, and that affects you mentally because you feel like all this training for what you went out there and you got instantly destroyed. Like, and I feel like that a lot of people can't recover from that, from getting instantly taken out, and that's why a lot of people quit. But what really holds me in the sport is the passion for the sport.
What most people don't have is motivation. They don't have the motivation to keep on going. They don't have the motivation to keep driving. They don't have the motivation to do anything, especially for wrestling. For soccer, yeah, it's easy. All you gotta do is just run.
Why are you hating on soccer?
Well, that's how you do it. All you gotta do is run.
Soccer, but
What about like tennis or something?
You just hit a ball.
that's crazy. I'll take.
That's what.
All their sports all sports are hard and unique in their own way. But like, do you guys have any like favorite moves or techniques that you guys like doing? I know you guys all have like your own like some of you guys like bodying, some of you guys like I don't know, like talk about the moves. Like, you guys have any favorite ones you guys like doing?
Oh, I got a favorite one. I was hit on every match. It's called a fireman carried. Not to be like that. I hit on everyone on the team before. So like my last match, I hit like firemen's on firemen's, and then like that got me to the win.
What can you describe it like?
Okay, the fireman is like you grab the tricep and you can throw them over your head. Mm-hmm. It's like a throw.
That's like the worst way to describe it.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like you need to set up for the firemen's.
Just describe the way, like, it's basically how a fireman would pick up, like...
Oh, yeah, it's like a fireman will pick up a human, like, on a fire.
Mine is the lateral drop. That one you have to pick up the person and you gotta turn them or spin with the person and they land on their backs.
I feel like it's really hard. Like, I have a favorite move, but I feel like it's very hard to stick to one move in wrestling just because it probably 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to counter the first time. So you're going to have to try like 4 different moves to actually get to the move you want. But I feel like you can't really plan for a match. Like, you can't plan the way a match is going to go. You got to just kind of go in there with sort of a strategy of like certain habits he has. And you got to capitalize off of his mistakes and his flaws and his technique, basically. But in terms of my favorite move, it would probably be like either a double leg or a fireman's. I do that one all the time, but I like to just swing people through the air, like.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, my favorite move is kind of a bad habit of mine. I probably shouldn't be doing it. I already know the group's gonna know what I'm gonna say.
You gotta describe it too.
It's a spladle. It's a banana split. Spladles, my coach told me something else, but I end up on their backs. Once they're on their backs, I hook my leg in, my left one inside to their left leg, and then I reach over to the right leg, and I spin through their back, and they end up in a split, and we call that the banana split. And I just hook on there, and I don't let go. Don't let go.
Let me describe that. Like, as soon as they get you in a Play-Doh, it's embarrassing. Like the worst move in wrestling. Like, you never want to hit. You never want to be in that position. It's when a guy's 2 legs are spread out and their butt cheeks are out, and it's like you're doing a split.
Twice this
Yeah, I
year.
hit it so many times. And it's like you're doing a split in the air.
You make the guy do the splits.
Yeah, and then all you see is butt cheeks, They're like in the air. It's crazy.
But leading into like all that, like how do you guys like prepare for matches? Like we know like everyone has a different mindset. Like I know some of you guys listen to music, some of you guys are like right there like shadow boxing. Like what do you guys do each individually to prepare for your guys' match?
For me, the thing I need to prepare the most is my mental state. I focus the most on there. I'll put some music on sometimes, and I'll kind of just jump around. I'll do some shadow wrestling, but I mostly just try to get my head right before matches, because the warm up before the tournament is usually enough to get me through it. I'll do my little jumping jack shadow wrestling, some high jumps, and then I'll get my headphones on. A match before my match, I'll get my headgear on and be in my singlet. I'll be ready, pacing up and down the mat. That's pretty much all I do.
The way I get ready is the motivation that got me into wrestling. That scene of the fight with my sister just keeps playing over my head over and over. Knowing that, saying that why would I quit if she's gonna get injured again? So that's my motivation.
All I do is like I put music because I hate getting nervous before matches, right? So I was trying to get calm before matches. Like my mind is like blank. And then I drink some little bit of water and shadow wrestle and then go live. Think that's it. What I do.
Before I go into a match, I obviously prepare. I'll shadow wrestle. I'll jump around just to warm up. But mentally, I like to talk to God. I'm a big believer, and I feel like if I'm not alone, if He's there with me, then there's nothing to stop me.
All right, before we like conclude on the podcast, because we know wrestling is mostly an individual sport. Like, do you guys have any goals for the remaining of the season?
I wanna become an All-American this year at state, and I want my team to come with me too. I want a good little handful of us to be there. That's one of my goals, to get get the team to that level to be up there with me. But one of my main goals is to be an All-American at state.
My goal is the same thing as him, to be an All-American this year. So I'm going to try to train hard every day and then keep my weight down and then kick some butt.
My goal this year is my final year. Honestly, my only true year wrestling, and I plan to just place at CIF and go to Masters.
Well, my goal for the next 2 years is to be a nationalist for the Mexicali team. Well, for my freshman year, I'd like to go to state and try to get good matches in there.
All right, we just want to conclude the podcast, but again, we want to say thank you guys for coming out and, talking about your guys' sport, and good luck to the rest of you guys in your guys' season.
All right, thank you.